Imagine living your life after 50 and feeling energized and excited about your future. Welcome to the Women in the Middle podcast, the podcast for women who are ready to figure out what they want and create the life they deserve. Here's your host and master certified life coach, Susie Rosenstein.
Hey there, today's episode is all about creating your own bonus family. Let's go. Welcome back to the podcast Women in the Middle. I'm your host, Susie Rosenstein, your master certified coach and midlife mentor, and I am so glad to be here with you again for this week's episode, which is all about creating your own bonus family in midlife and beyond. So I have a feeling that it's highly likely that you've either navigated a blended family situation or have someone close to you who has. You probably also know that there are many challenges with blended families, no matter your age and stage. For example, adult children, grandchildren, parents, or grandparents. There are plenty of issues and challenges to go around, no matter how old you are or in what position you're in. Well, I'm going to be introducing you to someone who can really help you. But just quick, before we go there, I have a free gift I want to share with you. It's perfect for you when you think you might need a midlife change, or you're curious about the way you've been feeling so stuck, but you're just not sure what to do or where to go next to make things happen in your life. This guide is super helpful because you will discover the top 12 obvious signs that you're ready for an exciting change in midlife. You'll learn why you're not doing what you really want to do. You'll understand why it's important to think about what you want and make that exciting change. And you'll learn how to make sure you take the next steps to regret-proof your life. So many of us feel stuck and confused at this age, but don't know if making a change is the answer or not. The first step is understanding what's going on and why you're feeling the way you do. No one should waste their valuable time on this planet being afraid of having regrets. This free guide is called The 12 Obvious Signs You're Ready for an Exciting Change in Midlife, and it's waiting for you at www.susierosenstein.com/12 signs. You can download it there. Enjoy. Okay, now let me tell you about my amazing guest. Today's interview is about creating your own bonus family in midlife and beyond. My guest is Dr. Jann Blackstone. Jann specializes in child custody, co-parenting, divorce, and stepfamily mediation. She's the author of multiple books on divorce, remarriage, and co-parenting, including Ex-Etiquette for Parents, Good Behavior After Divorce and Separation, Ex-Etiquette for Weddings, Ex-Etiquette for Holidays, and My Parents Are Divorced Too. Dr. Blackstone is also the founder of Bonus Families, a 501c3 nonprofit organization dedicated to peaceful coexistence between divorced or separated parents and their combined families. Her new book is the Bonus Family Handbook, the definitive guide to co-parenting and creating stronger families. I take it you're familiar with the term bonus family. Jann's been using the term bonus family since 1993 and has done so much amazing work in this field to really, really help you. She has decades of experience navigating this unique and powerful family situation, both personally and professionally. I know you're going to get so much insight and advice from this episode, so please enjoy. Hi, Jann. Thanks so much for joining us today on the Women in the Middle podcast.
Thank you for having me.
I am so excited to have you, and I'm so delighted to know how long you've been committed to this whole bonus family concept. Can you tell us a little bit about your background and how you came up with that way to talk about this unique experience for so many people?
Well, there's a couple stories that go along with that answer. I've been using the term since probably 1993. That's how long. The reason is for other people who have blended families, it becomes all-encompassing. And it was all-encompassing with me. And we, at that point, and we're talking about in the early 90s, we shared my then husband's kids week on, week off. That wasn't the norm then. It was just starting. And I got very close to his children. I had my own biological children, but I got very close to his as well because they lived with me for a week at a time. Over the years, because I married him in 1989, by the time we got to 1993 or so, his ex-wife, or my bonus kid's mom, and I were very good friends. But at the beginning, it wasn't so much like that. It took us about 3 or 4 years to get on the same page. By that time, I was very close to my oldest bonus daughter, and we had spent the evening with her having the flu and barfing on my feet and all of the stuff that goes along with taking care of kids who have the flu. And we got very close. The next day, of course, as kids often do, she was fine. And we went out and we went to a friend's house, and I went to introduce her as my stepdaughter, and it just didn't sound right. Her face dropped, my face dropped. And I went, there's got to be another word, because when the concept of step came into play years and years and years and years ago, you weren't spending that much time with the kids. And now they lived with me. So in talking to her mom said, Melanie came home and said she doesn't like to call you her stepmom because her friends automatically think she doesn't like you. And that was far from the truth. So wow. We were watching Melanie. Now, this time she's 13 years old, running back and forth in a basketball game, and she's ready to shoot baskets. And we're in the bleachers thinking, well, what about the new whitening, brightening form of mom? It's just, we're throwing these things back and forth and just joking. I came up with, how about bonus? And we both looked at each other and went, perfect. And I went home and looked it up, and it said, a reward for a job well done. So I went, perfect. I'm working really hard at doing this right. I'm working really hard at taking care of these children. I'm working very hard at getting along with their mother. So bonus would be, and it's an extra. It's not, doesn't replace. And that's what we were looking for, is we wanted something that didn't replace Cheryl, but didn't disrespect me. And bonus came up. And that was what.
I love that. You know what, Jann, when people explain that to me, not explain, but describe their situation, and they use the word bonus, I have an instant emotional reaction to it of positivity. Instant. Good. And I'm thinking back to when it happened recently. And when people call it that, they also, you can tell they feel proud. It just feels, it exudes this positivity.
But that was the whole concept behind it when I first thought, and originally when I started using it, people kind of went, oh, that's syrupy. And I said, I don't really care, because it was really important to me to communicate what's positive and loving and put that out there. But to kind of add to this whole story, I was at a party at a friend's house, and her sister lived in Sweden, and I was explaining what I did, and she said, "Oh, bonus in Sweden, it's a term of respect." And I went, "Cool, that's exactly what I wanted." And the reason is, I started a website in 1999. The concept went all over the world. So by the time it was 2005 and we were talking about this, the concept was picked up in Scandinavia, and they actually use it properly, because it's supposed to be a term of respect. I love this person. They're not just an afterthought.
Oh, wow. That's so beautiful.
It was cool. I got very excited.
Yeah. And I love hearing stories like this. And it's amazing that you had that breakthrough with this concept.
Oh,
and yeah, it's really something. So at that point, you didn't realize you were going to have a career doing this work, did you?
No. I mean, it was all encompassing. And I started a website because my Cheryl, my bonus kid's mom, and I would go places together. We'd watch the kids, and the people would go, "How do you guys do this?" Because it was obvious that we were friends. And we just said, we're putting the kids first. We don't, we just learned that was what was important. It wasn't that I was jealous or she was jealous. We were co-raising these children, along with their dad, of course. But the moms are the ones who are the nurturers. I mean, at least back then. Now it's not necessarily gender specific, but 30 years ago, it was more gender specific, and we were the primary caregivers. Although their dad was very active, he wasn't the one who was picking them up and waking up in the middle of the night and things like that. He was there.
Yeah.
But
yeah, definitely. So one of the questions that I asked you is about getting unstuck. And a lot of women in my community talk about feeling stuck and the mission to get unstuck. And when I asked you about that in your notes, you said very eloquently that what helped you get unstuck with this situation was learning to collaborate rather than control. So can you tell me a little bit more about how that played out for you?
Sure. It was really my journey of trying to get along with their bonus kids' mom. And I realized, and she did as well, that if we tried to control the situation, we looked like witches.
Right.
We were not giving the children the role models that they needed. We were being spiteful. We were just not putting our best foot forward. And when we started to collaborate, when she started to ask me for help, when I started to reach out to her, because I have another funny story, is she called me up one time and she said, would you pick up the kids? I'm going out of town and I won't be here. And I said, well, of course I will. Don't stress anymore. And she stopped for a second and she said, Jann, how do people do this without 3 parents? And I went, I don't know, because I felt the same way. You know, when you've got 3 working parents or sometimes 4 working parents, you've got to search for help. You have to ask for help. And that's really hard when you used to be married or together with somebody, you had children, and now you're so angry, you can't. So that's the whole premise of collaboration rather than control.
Wow, it sounds like not only does it enhance your life and just bring on more happiness, but it also creates a lot more calm.
Oh, goes without saying. Sure. And
wow.
You can't have too many people love your children. You can't have too many people love you or love too many people. So, it's a win-win situation if you start looking for help instead of hindrance.
Right. And I guess that is one of your overarching principles. And it's something you talk about in the book. And you want to tell us a little bit about the book and about how helping others is so core?
Well, the book is the Bonus Family Handbook, and it's kind of a culmination of all the books that I've written. I've written quite a few of them, but as the time goes on, it's really obvious that they're dated because the technology that's mentioned, cassette players instead of downloads, things like that. So I rewrote the book and kind of put everything I could possibly think. And my publisher said, Jann, there's 144,000 words here. We have to cut it down. And so I cut it down to quite a bit less. But it took me quite a while because I wanted it to be like an encyclopedia of co-parenting and combining families. So the way it's set up is we all Google stuff. We don't read from beginning to end. And so it's got an elaborate index that you can just go to the index and look up bad mouthing. And then it'll take you to a section on bad mouthing. So it talks to you about maybe you shouldn't be doing that. And this is why. So that's the way it's laid out. And I'm very proud of it because it's got lots of stories that I used to work for Superior Court in family law. And so for years and years. And I have lots of success stories of people coming in and telling me how much they hate each other. And by the time they left, they didn't hate each other that much. They realized their role in it. So there's lots of success stories.
I just want to mention, I love that you pulled out the elaborate index. In my last job, I worked in a publishing department in a hospital. Mm-hmm. And I learned that there are specialists who create an amazing index for people.
Oh, yeah. I had to pay for it extra.
I'm sure you did. And haven't
the book because it was so important.
It's so important. And I mean, I'm sure if you're listening right now, I'm sure that you've gone to a cookbook that's had a bad index and you've gone to a cookbook that has a good index, and it makes such a difference. So I just want to say, I love that you did that for this book, and that will make it so much more accessible, especially the way that people consume information right now. That was a fun little tidbit.
Yeah, but it's true. We Google everything, and we're used to getting our information in 30-second sound bites.
So true.
So the book's really written in kind of an article. This is the question, this is the answer kind of format. And the way I wrote it is I asked myself one question at the beginning and just kept asking questions all the way through till I get to the end. And then I filled in stories and rules. And, it was a long time. It took me the longest time to write this book of all the books that I've written.
Oh, I'm sure it did. I can only imagine. Now, one of the reasons I was so excited to have you on is because of how relevant this is to midlife people. So it's not just younger people talking about, sharing childcare responsibilities when there's babies and toddlers and school age kids. But for women our age, over 50, over 60, it's still an issue, and it still creates some situations that need to be sorted. Can you talk a little bit about how the specific problems and challenges, I don't want to call them just problems, challenges for midlife women with co-parenting?
Two things: senior divorces, or losing your partner, and remarriage, because adult children are just as thrown by their parents remarrying or recoupling as younger children. In fact, older children are a little bit even more difficult because they've formed lasting bonds over the years. They have their own issues dealing with the passing of the parent or the divorce, and I do cover that in the book because I faced it myself. So, and actually, my best friend and cousin just lost her husband to cancer, and she met somebody rather quickly. She absolutely adores him. She had all these guilt issues because she felt she was betraying her husband of 48 years. And she has 3 adult children. She was trying to figure out how she presents this because it was 9 or 10 months after the passing. Something that people don't realize, however, is that if you have a sick spouse, you are mourning their death all the way through the illness. You know your life's not going to be the same, especially if it's something like cancer where they're bedridden, or Alzheimer's where they can't think or don't remember things. So then you mourn that whole time. And then when they pass, excuse me for presenting it like this, but it's sometimes a relief because it's off. You can now relax and remember the good things. When you have a partner that was in a good marriage, they're more inclined to want to remarry again. So it's just the circle of life. But you got to try to tell your kids that your kids are struggling with the loss of their father or mother. And the way that somebody said it to me, is you can't replace your mom or dad, but you can replace a partner. And I went, wait a minute. You don't understand the level of grief that your mom or your dad is facing at this point. You can't really replace anybody. That's not what you're trying to do. Again, it's bonus. There's never, it's not either or, it's also. In later in life and while you're trying to combine families younger in life. That's one reason. The other reason is people are having babies as they get older. I was 10. My daughter was 10 when I was 50. So I had all that stuff still dealing with, combining older families. And the bonus daughter that I was talking about when my daughter was 10 was 21. So now we have a whole other different issue and all these things are covered in the book. It's a lifespan. It's a life book. It's not just for the demographic 25 to 30, because that's not necessarily the people who are having babies now. I think I looked up 50% of all babies born the women are over 30 in the U.S.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah.
And I guess the other piece
I looked it up before I talked to you.
That's fascinating. And I guess the other interesting and potentially challenging thing with grandparents breaking up are the grandchildren, like how the little kids are reacting to all of this stuff.
I have a story in the book specifically about that. A grandchild I can't remember the age, but it was under 10, maybe I think even 5. And she slapped the new person in her grandma's life. When he said something to her, she slapped him. He didn't know how to handle it. Grandma didn't anticipate it. And I think it was started because the little child used to sleep with grandma when it was a big deal. I'm going to grandma's house and I'm going to sleep with grandma. That's a lovely, intimate thing. But then grandma introduced this new man into her life, and he couldn't sleep with her. The child couldn't sleep with her anymore. All of a sudden, the child equates Grandma doesn't like me as much as this guy. And so the little child didn't like the new partner. And this happens not only with grandparents, but with parents too. Divorced women often, specifically, I've run into men too, so I have to remember not to be gender specific. Sleeping with your child after a breakup. It's comforting for both you and the child. However, if you meet somebody else and introduce somebody else into your bed, you're going to have a problem. So I always caution people, think about this, start weaning them now if you can see that you're going to really start to date. And dating is covered in the book. There's plugs all over the place with this book.
Well, that's why I wanted to interview you. I'm counting on these plugs and stories. Tell me about dating in this situation.
I look at it a little differently than most people now. I'm actually in private practice, so I have co-parents that I work with every day. And dating is really hard on people because most people that are ordered into co-parenting may not be ready to co-parent. They're still reeling from the divorce or the breakup, and the courts don't really care. And truthfully, neither do the children. I mean, the truth is, of course they do, but we have to be role models for our children. We have to do it right. And if you're dating a lot of people in front of the kids, I'm going to tell you that they're going to be resentful. They're going to be hurt. They're going to start taking sides. You're putting them in the middle. Especially young children don't know how to handle that or process it. So I always tell people, first of all, let your former partner know you're dating. That's really important. So that when the child comes home and says, Mommy has a new boyfriend, and I met him, and he's so nice. Your former partner can say, yes, honey, Mommy told me she was dating, instead of that piece of, So that's the reason that you always tell your former partner what you're doing. Transparency is really important. So they can support you and not throw you under the bus.
Right. Well, and one of the things that you talk about is this idea that love doesn't conquer all. So that really stood out in your notes when you were talking about having this plan of action for success and that you just can't rely on feelings of love. Tell us a little bit more about that.
After you break up, people are usually surprised by more love. The pain of a breakup throws you, and the next person that you really find yourself caring about is a really big deal. And sometimes we move too fast because we're so excited that we actually found somebody that maybe we'll do it right with. However, if you move in, love does not conquer all. That oxytocin goes away. And then you have to deal with, is the toilet paper coming off the roll the right way? Did your children pick up the dog poop? Who's doing the dishes? And so that kind of plan, house rules. There's something that in the book called the before exercise. And I prompt people to sit down together and say, okay, we're going to move in together. How are we going to cultivate relationships with these people? What do you expect from me and your children? How do you want me to relate to them? This is how I want to relate. Be transparent, get it all out of the way. Are you going to discipline my kids? I don't really want you to. There's a whole controversy of whether bonus parents should discipline. And what I always say is, if the bonus parent has children of their own, you can't just have different rules. You have to sit down and collaborate. There's another rule to collaborate. Because they've already got rules for their kids. Let's say the kids are 8 or 9 years old, or 10, or high school. And you can't have one set of rules for one set of kids and another set of rules for another set of kids. So those are the types of things you have to sit down and say, is the rule going to be that we eat in front of the TV? Those are the little things. And there's a whole things.
What kinds of things have come up for, when the young adults come back home? So when kids are coming back home in a new situation, when they're in their 20s, because what I'm noticing with friends and family is that it's a good 10 years with kids coming and going, especially in this economy.
Wow.
Until they can get established. So did I ask a good one? Because I can really see it being an issue in a blended family.
Well, what happens often is people wait until their kids are older and they move out of the house, and that's when they break up. We've heard we stay together for the children. Kids who turn 18, they go off to college, mom and dad break up. Where do they go when they come home? Do I go to mom's house? Do I go to dad's house? We don't celebrate Christmas or Hanukkah or any of the holidays the way we used to. So that kind of thing is never discussed. And if kid's an adult, they can handle it. They can't really. They have to be prompted. They also have to be nurtured at that age because you just dropped a huge bomb in their lap. So that's one of the things that is putting the adult children in the middle. And making them make their own decision. Well, you're 18. You can decide where you're going to be. Really?
Wow. Yeah.
It happens all the time.
And what about, go ahead, sorry.
I was just going to say, but that's when you don't have a collaborative co-parent. That's one of the main reasons why collaboration is so important. Because they can come to you and say, this is really confusing. What do I do? And you can sit down together and say, okay, let's plan this out. Let's figure it out. You want to be with dad for Christmas? Do you want us both to go somewhere? Let's go to a park and celebrate Easter. Talk about it. These are adult children. They can weigh in. And you can not do it wrong. You could do it right.
It's always an option.
Yeah.
What about family conflict resolution? So, do you think, do you guide people to anticipate a lot of the things that need to be discussed? And I would imagine some people can't even look at each other.
No, but you have to figure it out. Now, you're talking about co-parents are having a problem. Within the blended family, within the bonus family, there should be a form of conflict resolution in place before you move in so that your children and you know how to problem solve together. Again, it's collaborative. Let's figure this out together. The parents are always the leaders. Don't let the kids come. It's not a bitch session either. It's definitely parents lead the story. I'm going to tell you a quick story about a bonus family forum for conflict resolution. This happened to me. I met my bonus kids when they were 3 and 7. My daughter was a year younger at 6, and then we had another one when the kids were older, 3 years later. So there was an 11-year difference between the oldest one and the youngest one. The kids were brought up that we have family discussions if there's a problem. And everybody came, there were rules, and the rules are listed in the book. You come, you say with an open mind, nobody yells, blah, blah, blah. The parents were always the one who called the kids rarely, if that didn't happen. One day, my husband and I got a note underneath our door in our office because we both had home offices. And it said, please come to the family discussion. And it was written in my oldest bonus daughter's handwriting and my daughter. They both wrote it. We would like to call a family discussion. It's going to be on this day at this time. Please be there. And we're thinking, how humorous is this? This is really, look what we've done. We've set the stage and the kids are actually doing it. And I'm thinking, okay, they want popcorn with, they want popcorn with family movie night. That's what I'm thinking it's going to be. We sit down at this table and the kids are very serious and they stand up and they're 8 and 9 and they say, we think you're working too hard and you're not spending enough time with us. We come home from school and you're in your office and we would like some more time with you. And my husband and I at the time go, whoa, what? First of all, like many parents, we thought we're home. We're working home. We're always here. But the kids didn't see us. We were working. So we realized we had created a forum where they could say, this is how we feel. Please change something. Sure enough, we said, okay. And we started to lay down ground rules. I'm quitting at 4. He was quitting at 5. That's what happened. We had a discussion and it changed our life. So just having that in place was a big deal.
I'm floored, Jan, because I'm thinking of my childhood.
Imagine I'm going, this isn't popcorn at movie night?
I was afraid of my parents. Like, I can't even imagine bringing up something that they could interpret as a criticism, I
didn't, though. I realized, I kind of did, but that was the forum that we created. I wanted my children to be able to tell me, I'm disappointed. I want to spend more time with you. And we aren't having as much fun as we used to. Okay. Whoops. I didn't see it. I was too, and quite frankly, I was doing bonus families. That's what I was doing. So that's kind of ridiculous, isn't it?
It's life. It's life. It's hard to be on top of everything as much as we want to.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about why you're so passionate about this topic. I know you talk about the importance of having a balanced home life and anxiety, and I'd love to hear more about that.
Well, I just know that it's all encompassing. When I was trying to do it right, and I felt really responsible for my children, is their emotional well-being. And when I first started doing this, I didn't have my doctorate in psychology. I was a professional photographer. And so I went back to school at 50 to get my doctorate.
You're kidding. I love this part of the story so much too.
No, actually, I was writing on all this stuff, but I had the wrong degrees and I was insecure about it. So I decided I was going to go back to school, and I got a master's degree in behavioral science, and then I continued and went on and got a doctorate so I have all sorts of degrees, and I just wanted to have the right, be able to give people the right information. And it's really no different than the information I was giving them before, but I just felt more comfortable in doing it. So anyway, I digressed.
I was asking you about anxiety. Prevention, really, with balance.
Well, that really comes with the ability. Anxiety is just what if thinking, and that's we had households of anxiety. What if the kids get hurt? What if they're not, what if nobody's there to pick them up? What if I say the wrong thing? I mean, there's what if. And anxiety, you have to create a forum so that your children, because sometimes with anxiety, people just want to connect with other people. Because it's so much in your head, you just need to have somebody hold your hand and say, okay, take a breath. So that was the environment that I really tried to create. And not only with me, but with the other parents. We all were trying to be there for the kids, because the role model, some of us had more anxiety than others. And I'm not saying who.
Fair enough. And tell me, I know that you think that it's so important to introduce more gratitude in your life, especially in these situations. Tell us why.
I feel I'm so great. I find myself so grateful for the opportunity to help people. And when I get myself out of myself and help others, I feel so much better. I feel like a contributing human being. I know that I'm helping other people, and I also know the stresses of combining a family when it's not done right. It's horrible. Not being able to get along with your child's other parent, not being able to get along with your bonus children, there is nothing. I mean, of course, there's worse things, but I just remember the anxiety that caused. There's no solace. You have no place to go. So it became all encompassing for me, because I wanted to offer that to other people. And that is a sincere answer. I just didn't want other people to go through that, because I used to be a teacher as well. And I saw what divorce and breaking up did to kids, and including my own. You think they're resilient. They are, of course, but they're not that resilient. So being able to help others is really. And then I find myself being grateful that I was human this time, and I could help people.
It's so good. And when you really think about it, it's not like I deal with midlife transitions, right? And so it's a transition, but it keeps on giving. It's like they're not going anywhere. And somebody that you're a bonus parent for when they're a minor, then you're a bonus parent for them as a young adult and as an adult, and then they have kids.
As you mentioned, they may move back in. You may not even have lived with them. And then you marry somebody who has adult children, and all of a sudden they move in with you. You could be 60 years old and have somebody 30 years old live with you that you don't even know.
Thank you for saying that. That just happened to somebody I know, and I was quite surprised by it. That I hadn't considered that. When she was telling me the story, I started to really appreciate it. And it may not be just the person moving in. They may have a partner, they may have a pet, all
They
of a
may have
sudden
children.
they may have children, right? Exactly.
And now you're a grown bonus grandparent and you have no relationship with these people. It's, the life, it just keeps giving. But I also always tell people, if you are coupling with somebody, I don't say married because the majority of people don't get married right now. If you're coupling with somebody and the situation is this way when they move in, don't be surprised that it will change and you'll have bonus parent kids moving in with you. Even though you lived with each other for 10 years, don't be surprised, because people love their children. They love their 30-year-old children just like they love their 10-year-old children. And they may move in with you. So you have to have that conversation.
I guess nobody's downsizing anymore.
If you talk to builders, they're building bigger homes because of bonus families. You need 5 bedrooms.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I see what you're saying. Well, I would highly recommend your book, The Bonus Family Handbook, the definitive guide to co-parenting and creating stronger families. And you say it's available everywhere, so easy to find?
Everywhere books are sold.
Amazing. And if you can give us one tip, what would it be?
To create a productive bonus family?
Yeah.
Acceptance. Biggest thing. We try to, when we combine families, we try to create this homogenized version of family. And the people that we are moving in with have backgrounds and individualities and histories, and that has to be respected. And if you can accept a child with their background instead of trying to homogenize them into this life of blended families, they're more likely to want to be close to you and be part of the family. But if you don't see them, they'll figure, why am I here? Why should I bother? So acceptance.
So good. I also want to mention that Jann's website is www.bonusfamilies.com. There are over 200 free articles to read there waiting for you. And as Jann did mention, she is available in private practice as a mediator, co-parenting coach, and consultant. And you can reach her at her website, www.bonusfamilies.com. Did I miss anything?
No, that's awesome. Thank you.
You are so welcome. Thanks so much for joining us today on the Women in the Middle podcast. I am so happy that I have your content now available as part of the catalog without an index of my podcast episodes. I really, really enjoyed your interview, and you have amazing information to contribute. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Pleasure. Thank you so much.
Okay, that's it for this episode. Did today's show resonate with you? Out of over 400 episodes, I hadn't interviewed anyone yet with expertise quite like Jann's, and I was really excited to bring her brilliance to the Women in the Middle podcast. I love how she pointed out that love isn't always enough. This is true in so many areas of life. Wouldn't you agree? You also need clarity and commitment to keep moving forward in a way that, lines up with your goals and values. As she emphasized, collaboration and acceptance are critical for the bonus experience of your dreams. You can totally become a woman who's focusing more and more on being intentional and making sure you're living your life according to your priorities. If you don't, you're highly likely to have regrets. This is exactly how I can help you. It starts with your thinking, and this is what we're up to in my Women in the Middle Academy. So if you'd like to see if working together is a good fit for you, head over to www.talktosusie.com and book your free momentum call. This is the best way to learn more about the Academy and how it can help you go from wasting valuable time and feeling stuck to fulfilled and using creative tools, mindset coaching, joyful planning, and accountability in an amazing community of like-minded women. So if you're ready to make changes that are important to you, the Academy just might be the thing. Now, as you know, my focus as your midlife coach is to help you waste less time spinning like this and feeling stuck. This is what regret-proofing your life is all about. Seriously, regret-proofing. Make sure that you do what you can to make sure that you don't have regrets. Being the queen of your brain domain is the best way to be, And midlife transformation coaching is the fastest way to rediscover joy and purpose after 50. So if you'd like to see if working together is a good fit for you, either in the academy or privately, head over to www.talktosusie.com and book your free momentum call and we'll chat. For show notes and links, go to www.susierosenstein.com and click on the podcast tab and look for episode 410. You'll also see a link there for my other show, The Women in the Middle Entrepreneurs, which is all about the reality of running your business when you're a midlife gal. It's also on iTunes, Spotify, and all the places. Let's do this, ladies. It's time for you to put yourself first, one thought at a time. Thanks so much for listening, and I'll talk to you next week.